4 o'clock this morning, but NDOT tells me it's taking crews so long to clean this up because of the slimy residue that was left behind from the cookie dough that burned in the back of that semi-tractor trailer. Now take a look at the backup here. It stretches at this point all the way past I-69, and you can see they've got it narrowed down to just one lane passing here on the left, except for the people that are getting off at Shadeland Avenue. Now take a look at these pictures from Skycam 6. Traffic has been snarled here for hours. Police say the semi was hauling a full load of cookie dough when the trailer caught fire. It happened in the southbound lanes of I-465, just under that bridge to Shadeland Avenue. So again, the backup between about I-69 all the way to about 56th Street. The driver of the semi was not hurt. Only one lane has been open for hours. That's causing the backup some points to reach almost all the way to Castleton. Now, NDOT told me that it did send inspectors out here to double check the structure of the bridge to make sure it was still okay as far as the integrity goes, because you've got to think there was a huge fire under it, but NDOT says the bridge is fine. That's why they opened up the bridge to Shadeland Avenue earlier today. Lauren Casey is standing by in the Traffic Now Center with another update when it comes to all the detours. Lauren?
This is AP News Minute. Republican Mike Pence was calm and steady in the face of Democrat Tim Kaine's fiery and frequent challenges last night. But when it comes to defending Donald Trump, Pence dodged, sidestepped, and was silent about some of his running mate's most provocative words. The vice presidential debate is over. The second presidential debate is Sunday. In Florida, officials are worried about complacency regarding Hurricane Matthew as the strong storm approaches the coast. Schools are closed and some communities are evacuated. The Syrian government-controlled military media has released pictures of the aftermath of fierce fighting in one neighborhood in Aleppo. The footage shows extensive damage to buildings and a suspected bomb factory using gas bottles as shells. And in New York, Kim Kardashian West remains in seclusion. Kardashian has been in the residence since returning from Paris after being the victim of a $10 million jewelry robbery. I'm Richie, Associated Press, with AP News Minute.
These two friends are just half of the students one New York high school buried last month. 4 students from Brentwood High School on Long Island were found dead just days apart. The 2 young women had apparently been walking together. The 2 young men had been missing for some months. Law enforcement officers believe there was gang involvement in the killings.
We've made a strategic subject list of known gang members in the area.
But 2 weeks later, it appears there haven't been any arrests made. Community members believe the gang responsible is MS-13. Its members have been suspected of over a dozen murders in the past 7 years. According to both the New York Times and Fox News, the killings have highlighted a heated debate about immigration in the community. The immigration issue comes into play because MS-13 has roots in El Salvador, and residents told the Times an influx of Central American immigrants might be inflaming the gang's violence. According to ABC, the violence carried out by gangs in El Salvador, including MS-13, have led people to flee the Central American country. The problem is many of the people looking to leave El Salvador behind come into the United States illegally. Some of those people wind up in MS-13 here in the States. Others end up targets of the violence they tried to leave behind. Police and school officials announced they are taking extra precautions to keep students and the community safe. But that hasn't quelled the fears of some.
When I heard this news, I was pretty devastated. So I'm like, who else is going to be next, you know?
For Newsy, I'm Lauren Stevenson.
Estaba ahí en la casa cuando pasó, yo estaba en mi otra casa. Un deslizamiento de tierra se derrumbó.
parents' worst nightmare, and unfortunately, Roger and Renee Hall are living through it. They sent their son Jacob to school, and he was shot and killed on a school playground. Nothing can fix this. Nothing. And when nothing can fix it, all you can do is pray and support one another. And that is what this tight-knit community in South Carolina has done. Jacob loves superheroes, and so his parents asked everyone attending the funeral to come dressed as a superhero. In addition to friends and family who will attend, the entire community has gotten involved. West Virginia-based Heroes for Hire have sent Batman and his Batmobile down to the funeral. And the real Batman, Adam West, sent his condolences in a tweet. I love Jacob too. The Easley Police Department wore superhero shirts under their uniforms. Even a dog hotel had their pups dressed in support of Jacob's family. Entire schools are wearing superhero t-shirts to class in support of Jacob Hall Day. It's a seemingly small thing to wear a superhero shirt, but when an entire community does it, hopefully it provides some strength and comfort for a family who needs it. I'm Carrie Lum for Buzz 60. Now you know.
There it is, buddy. It's right there. Is that it? Yep. That's that.
A front row seat to history. A World War II German submarine and an Allied freighter lying at the bottom of the sea sunk more than 70 years ago off the coast of North Carolina.
This is really America's only World War II battlefield on the East Coast. Few people outside coastal North Carolina remember the Battle of the Atlantic.
A battle that serves as a reminder of how close World War II came to the mainland. Weeks after the attack on Pearl Harbor, German U-boats began patrolling off the coast of North Carolina, sinking merchant ships and Allied vessels. 92-year-old Louis Segal was stationed off the East Coast during the Second World War.
After D-Day, we were sailing up and down that coast looking for submarines because they were ripe all along the East Coast. Also, we did convoy escort, we'd protect ships that were in convoys. We had about 50 ships in a convoy, be 7 or 8 of us destroyers.
After the German submarine U-576 sank the freighter SS Bluefields, the U.S. military escorts fought back, sinking the U-boat. The freighter was able to get all her crew off before sinking, but that was not the case for the German ship.
All of the hatches are still sealed and closed, so there was no time for the crew to try to get out, which means that it is in essence not only an archaeological site, but a tomb and a grave site for the 45 men who were on board.
The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration first discovered the shipwrecks 2 years ago. Last month, a team of researchers got their first chance to explore the site, collecting data to virtually recreate the underwater battlefield.
The site is about 35 miles due east of Ocracoke, North Carolina, and the two vessels lie in about 710 feet of water.
Segal, the Navy veteran, was invited to join the expedition. It was his first time back in these waters since the war. His reaction to seeing the sunken sub?
I saw it and I said, well, that's one we didn't have to worry about.
Both vessels have been placed on the National Register of Historic Places. The public will eventually be able to virtually see what happened here in July of 1942. Marina Hutchinson, The Associated Press.